So Manchester United has won 2 games in a row under Michael Carrick in the Premier League, beating Arsenal and Manchester City in the process. But Manchester United actually won these games using a lot of tactical expertise. And in today's analysis, we are going to be breaking down how Manchester United was able to beat Arsenal at the Emirates. So we are going to basically start talking about the shape that was used by both Manchester United and Arsenal. You're going to find out that Manchester United and Arsenal played with a 4-3-3 shape on paper, but when it came to the proper execution of their 4-3-3, I think it was held in a different way. Both Arsenal and Manchester United in defending, they played with a 4-4-2 shape, and then in attacking, it was a whole different situation. So let's basically start with how Arsenal was looking to attack. So on the attack, Arsenal was looking to play in a 4-3-1-2 shape, where Jesus and Odegaard is going to be pressing the defensive duo of Manchester United man to man. So how was Manchester United looking out to break out from the first line of press? So you're going to find out that when Lemans receives the ball, of course, he wants to play through Casemiro, and it was easy for Arsenal because, of course, Declan Rice was being tasked to mark Casemiro man for man, so it was easy for Declan Rice to cut off the passing lane of Casemiro. And so Manchester United had a second outlet in Meno, and it was also easy for Zubimendi to be able to cover Meno and try to win that ball as much as possible. And so the problem Arsenal had was, giving a lot of room and a lot of spaces to Bruno Fernandes behind those lines. And you all know how Bruno Fernandes is very threatening in terms of playing in between the lines. And so what Arteta was looking to do was that Zubimendi was not pressing Meno all the time. What happened was that Arteta basically trusted the athleticism and game reading of Declan Rice in marking both Kobe Meno and Casemiro. So you could see from the picture I'm showing that Declan Rice was being tasked with marking both Meno and Casemiro. So it depends on where Lemans wants to play the ball. So if Lemans is playing the ball to Casemiro, Declan Rice immediately covers him up. And if he's playing to Meno, of course, Declan Rice also with his athleticism automatically covers Kobe Meno up. So in the first moments of the game, particularly in the first half, Manchester United was basically playing direct to Bryan Mbeumo because it was hard to break the first line of press of Arsenal. So what Lemans was looking to do was to go long and try to play into Bryan Mbeumo, and then he holds up and Manchester United tried to counter, but it was very difficult. So what Lemans opted to do was to take the risk. So Lemans actually opted to take the risk and try to play through Casemiro, and then when he plays through Casemiro or Kobe Meno, they are going to progress the ball to Bruno Fernandes, and Manchester United will be able to counter. And you could see that after a few moments of the game, Manchester United was able to take that risk and was able to break the first line of press of Arsenal. So guys, like I said in the beginning of this video, both Arsenal and Manchester United was playing in a rigid 4-4-2 shape because they both know the strengths and weaknesses of the two teams and they know where they could hurt each other. So you could see that in terms of attack, Arsenal also looked to attack in a 4-4-2 shape, and you could see that the forwarders of Arsenal, Odegaard, Jesus, was looking to press the defensive duo of Manchester United, man for man, Martinez and Harry Maguire, and you could see that it was hard for Manchester United to build up because of the press, and it was a very aggressive and intensive press. So what Michael Carrick was looking to do was to use Luke Shaw as the third man, at the third central back, to try to receive that ball and try to break the first line of press of Arsenal. And so Arsenal was also ready to match up as Bukayo Saka. It was easy for Saka to join the 2-man press, making it a 3-man press, and it was like a 3 versus 3 pressing. It was also easy for Arsenal to squeeze Manchester United down the touchline, and this press was not just based on the front line alone of Arsenal. I think this press was also backed up by Rice and Zubimendi also pressing Casemiro and Kobe Meno, making it even more difficult for Manchester United to play in between the lines. But what Arsenal was also very much worried about was Bruno Fernandes receiving this ball in the half spaces. It was a real problem for Arsenal. So what Arsenal was also looking to do was to use Saliba. Saliba was tasked to match Bruno Fernandes, to mark Bruno Fernandes man to man, to cut off those passes in between the lines. And this actually is definitely going to leave Bryan Mbeumo with the space to drift into midfield, running behind and try to attack as much as possible. But this never happened in the game because Gabriel was also tasked with matching Bryan Mbeumo man to man. Bremanganes was the one marking Bryan Mbeumo man to man, so it was hard for also Bryan Mbeumo to drift into the central zone to receive the ball. So this is where the key tweak of how Michael Carrick was able to win Arsenal at the Emirates came into place. So what Michael Carrick was looking to do was to keep Dalot very high, and then Amad Diallo is going to drift into the central zone. It's going to create an overload in the midfield position, and it's going to give Manchester United more midfield options. So Amad Diallo is going to drift into the middle, try to create some combinations, and also the Same happened on the left-hand side of the pitch. Shaw was pushed forward, and then Pratigoglu, instead of holding the width or running behind, he was brought into the central zone to create that compactness, to be able to combine, to run in behind. And that was, you could see, that was how equalizer of Pratigoglu came. He was actually not in the wide zone. Instead, he was told to drift into the midfield zone to make some combinations and then run in behind and try to score as much as possible. So this was the trick Carrick to beat Arteta at the Emirates. Instead of leaving the wingers high and making it very easy for the fullbacks of Arsenal to predict their movements, he definitely brought the wingers into the midfield. And so while Saliba and Gabriel is going to be focusing on marking Bruno Fernandes and Bryan Mbeumo in between the lines, it is going to disorient their defensive structure, and this is something Mikel Arteta doesn't like. He doesn't like his defensive structure to be disoriented, and so once they're disoriented, it is easy for Amad Diallo to be in that central zone and running behind, or Dogu to be in the central zone also running behind. So guys, I want you guys to give me your thoughts on the comment section on what you feel about the tactics that Michael Carrick used against Mikel Arteta at the Emirates. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford. See you guys in my next video. Ciao.